Hello guys and welcome to my channel. For the first video we want to be recreating Call of Duty Zombies. Point of this whole series that I'm gonna be doing is to actually recreate the full zombies experience, meaning that we will be introducing everything from box weapons to wall buys to zombies, bosses, dogs, everything in there. We're gonna be working on it together. Um, I just loaded up a brand new first person project, which we are going to be using throughout this series. Quick disclaimer that we are going to be using paid assets. The reason for that is just because it makes our life a lot easier. And because they're just cosmetics, they don't really mind that much gameplay wise. You can use whatever you want, but I'm gonna be using some paid assets. I will show them on screen now which ones they are. Really good assets, highly recommend them. But without further ado, let's get on with the series, shall we? Alright, and the first thing we are going to do before anything else is we are gonna go into our project settings for our first person project. If you don't know how to get here, it's just edit, project settings, you'll get to this screen. First thing we want to do is always set the near clip plane to the lowest you can be. By default, I think it's set to 10. You want to set it to like 0.01. What this will do is it will basically eliminate the clipping between the weapon and the camera, especially noticeable once you start with ADSing and stuff like that. So definitely do this first. We can exit out of this then, and then we want to go into our plugins folder. You guys probably don't need to do that unless you have plugins that you want to use, but for me, because I will be using the customizable arms pack, you do have to enable control rigs, so I'm gonna be enabling this. And same with the near clip plane. It's at 0.01. But after you change this, you will have to restart the project to make those changes happen. So I'm gonna restart the project and I'll get back to you once it's loaded back up. Alright guys, with the project back opened up, as you can see, we still have the default first person template. I can hop in game, show you real quick. Just the basic first person template, nothing too special about it. And for the first episode, we are going to be working on our character itself. Just getting everything set up, so in the next episodes we can work on the interaction system, with the different types of weapons, weapon classes, stuff like that, and then we can work our way towards having zombies in the game and stuff like that. So first thing we do, if you open up the first person character, which is in the content first person BP blueprints, open it up. Maybe another quick disclaimer, this is not going to be an beginner's tutorial. You could follow along if you want, but I'm not going to be explaining everything in depth, because it just would take way too long, and there's plenty of tutorials out there for everything that I'm going to be using. So if something is unclear, just tell me in the comments and I'll do my best to reply to you guys. But yeah, let's get started. First thing we do is get rid of the stuff we do not need. I always do this in the beginning of the project. It makes it a little bit cleaner, and we don't really need it anyway. So spawn projectile can go, everything begin play can go, and the reset VR as well. If you click on the viewport right here, you will see the arms with the meshes, and you will see the VR gun. We can get rid of that. Motion controllers as well. We can get rid of I'm sorry, my English is terrible today. We can get rid of the finger index, motion controllers, These two are for looking up and down and left to right. So I'm just gonna drag them into the components list. And then gun offset, we can get rid of that as well since we don't have firing anymore. Once we have that set up, everything is pretty much good to go. So yeah, first thing I'm gonna do, if you have the project, if you have the same content as I do, if you have the customizable arms pack, you can follow this part. If not, I will put in the bottom right description to where you can skip to continue the tutorial. This will just be setting up the mesh to use the same location and rotation of the blueprint that we have in our B test character, so that whenever we create animations, it will actually be in the same location and rotation for it. So if you have it, you can just follow along. The first thing we're just gonna do is copy the location, and where we have our first person character and we have our mesh, we just want to paste. If you first reset the camera, detach it from it, and then retouch it, then you can set rotation and location to 0 by pressing the yellow arrows. Then you can just paste location and then copy the rotation and paste the rotation in here. And do the same thing for the camera. So paste that down there. Something is up. Let me quickly see. Get the location and the rotation. I'm sorry, I figured out what I did wrong. In the mannequin, you want to change it to be the customizable arms animation. We can also use this, for now we can use this A/B test character to see how it will look. There you go, now the arms are in the correct position. If you want to double check, you can just do it one more time. They should be in the right position, but just in case, there you go. Alright, so now for our FB gun, we're also going to be changing that, but for now we can just, actually let's just get rid of it. Go to the construction script and we want to be deleting this. There you go. So now if we hop into game, as you can see, we have our arms right here, and if you move, that will play the default animations that it has. So yeah, so we're where we're at right now, and let's continue. So first thing we kind of want to do is figure out what every input is that we're going to need. So if you go back to the project settings, go into input and then action mappings. First you want to delete the VR since we're not making that. We already have jump on fire, so the next one we're probably gonna need is crouch. I'm gonna set that up to be C. Sprint or sprinting actually, which is gonna be my left shift. Aim down sights, which is gonna be a right mouse. Then we have melee, which is gonna be V. Then you have grenade. Gonna set that up to be G. And then you have interact, which I'm gonna be setting up to E. And interact is basically going to be used to interact with items such as barriers, doors, wall-wise, stuff like that, things you need to interact with. So I'm gonna be setting that up like so. Do we need anything else? I think for now we're good here. And then we can start dragging these in here. So first thing we want to do is set up sprinting. Yeah, let's set up sprinting. Why not? Also, I'm gonna be setting up all of this dynamically, so it will be easier for you to adjust it at the end, because once we're done with this, I'm gonna be releasing this for free online. So we're gonna be setting it up so it's easier for everybody to understand what's going on and change the values that they want instead of having them rewrite the entire code. So but yeah, sprinting. Whenever you press a button, we basically want to check through things. First thing we want to check whenever we are sprinting, and we're gonna be going back and forth between codes throughout the episodes a lot. But for now, let's just set it up. So I want a boolean in here, which is going to be called instant should player instantly sprint. And what this basically means is we're going to be dragging it in and choose get and then connect it to the branch. What this basically is going to allow us to do is whenever you set it up in the begin place, so in here, we want to be, it basically is going to check whether we want to use a timeline to enable the sprint, which is going to be smooth, like a smooth transition into it, or if we just, whenever we press it, we want to instantly sprint. It will make more sense once we start writing the code, but yeah, let's just do that actually. So now that we have this, what we want to do is when this is true, it's really easy actually. You just want to grab the character movement and you want to set max walk speed. And because we're going to be changing this value a lot, I'm actually going to collapse to function and just make this set player walk speed. And if you double click on this, what we can do is actually just drag this in like so. And then once it is true, so if sprinting is instant, right? So it is true, you want to instantly, whenever you press the button, you want to hit terminal velocity. So if it is true, you just want to set the max walk speed. By default, it's like 600, so we can do like 750, should be a good number, like so. And you want to have this branch at the released too, but I'll show you guys in a second why that is. So if it is true, you instantly want to set it to the 750, and then whenever this is instantly true as well, you want to immediately set it back to the 600 default value. So if we go into the first person character ourselves and then enable, by default, enable the should player sprint. If we now go into the game, as you can see, once you press the button, it instantly sprints you. And I'm not sure if you can tell really well based on the video, so what I could do is just grab my event tick for a second. And what I can do is just get the character movement, get walk speed, max walk speed, and then just print the value of this. I'm gonna be setting it to 0, so it's just on the screen once the entire time. But as you can see on top left now, as I'm walking, it's 600. If I press shift, it goes immediately to 750, and if I let go, immediately back to 600. That's basically the whole idea of instantly being able to hit terminal velocity. So that's a reason for that boolean. But if we don't want that, so if this is false by default, what we want to do is down here, we want to add a timeline, which is going to be calling this sprinting timeline. Connect the false into the play, and then the false of the bottom one will go into the reverse of the timeline, like so. And then if you go in here, you can add a flow track, and let's say over half a second, add a key, time 0, value 600, so that's the default walk speed, and then add 0.5, which is the final, like the end of our timeline. We want to say like 750. And if you then look at it, what you could do is select both of them, right click, select auto, and then you get these handles, and then you can just drag them up like so to create like a smooth curve in between. And if you then close this and go back to the event graph, on the update, what you want to do is drag your set player walk speed, drag that in there like so, and then the max walk speed of the set player walk speed goes into the new track like so. Maybe we should rename that real quick too. Up here, right click, rename. Let's set it to like sprint speed, like so. There you go. So now once this is not enabled, what that is going to do is whenever you start sprinting, so if I press, as you can see in the top, it gradually goes up to 750 over half a second. It's a little more realistic, especially when you have like different numbers. Let's make it like more realistic for now. So let's set it up to be like, by default you walk 250. If you sprint, let's set it up to be like 650, something like this. Default 250. If you go into your timeline, default is 250, and the 650. I'm sorry, I was just it's better to do it now than at the end of the episode. Just make it look a little bit better. But yeah, as you can see, once we start going into the game now and you don't walk as fast, the moment you start sprinting, so you press sprint, it goes smoothly in between, so it doesn't look so jittery, you know what I mean? So that's basically how you do that. And if you then enable it again and you press sprint, it's instantly that speed. So it's just what you want. It's just personal preference. I'm showing you guys both, but yeah, you can decide which one you want. So so that is sprinting. Let's just make a comment and just say sprinting code based on player setup for instant sprint or not. There you go. I like black color as well, so I'm just gonna be making it black, and this is done. So I'm just gonna be dragging it up here for now. This is looking good, next thing, probably is gonna set up crouching, keep it a little bit, on the same setup. We also want to do this same thing basically by having two branches. like so. So press goes into there, release goes into here. Make a new variable, boolean as well, call it should player instantly crouch. And the reason I'm making these long booleans is just so that people, whenever they get the project, they won't have to think too much about what the code does. They can just look at the name and it kind of explains it. So you can change them around as well if you want. Doesn't really matter. So crouching. The first thing we want to do whenever we crouch is first thing is you want to get your capsule component, and by default the half height is 96, so that means that 48 is the half height. So what you want to do is whenever you crouch, you want to set capsule half height like so. Yeah, like that. And then you want to set this up to be 48, which is the half of 96. And same up here, whenever you release the crouching, you go back into a full stand like so. So that is done. That would work already, but the thing is that for me, I don't really like it if it's not smooth, especially when you start like putting sliding into the game, or like slide cancel. This will look really jittery, but if we go into game, as you can see, it actually doesn't work. Huh. Wait, I gotta see. It should work. I think it works, but it doesn't put our camera down. No. Oh, right. Instantly. You need to enable the boolean to do it. There you go. As you can see, it works, but as you can see, it's... yeah, it doesn't really look the best, in my opinion. So we are going to be doing the same thing like we did here and adding a timeline in here. So let's just drag this down. And I'm sorry if I'm saying a lot. It's my first tutorial that I've ever done, so it's a little bit of fumbling here and there, but hopefully it goes better as time goes on, so bear with me. And yeah, so out of the false here, you want to do another add timeline, which is going to be the crouching timeline, like so. Open it up, and let's do as well like 0.5 for now. By default, at time 0, you want to have 96, which is your total capsule height. And then at 0.5, you want to have 48. This is like the basics of timelines. You can add multiple if you have multiple values you want to control with it. But I love timelines because they just give so much more detail and like refinement to a game that like I enjoy them. So yeah, that's just a little known fact about me. But anyway, as you can see right now, if we set this up like this for a second, we can drag this a little, clean it up a little bit. Doesn't need to look that ugly. Maybe like so. There you go. So now that we have that, just want to copy one of these out of the update. Once again, you want to drag this one into here like so. And that should be it. So now if you take the crouch variable and set it to false, in game, as you can see, in half a second it's gonna go down and it just looks a lot smoother. of a transition. You can make this faster, slower, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, it just looks a lot smoother than not having it, so that's why I like it. So that is the second one, that is crouching. So make another comment. Let's say crouching code based on player instantly crouching boolean. Maybe I should add like the boolean which is being used. Just a boolean, so people will know that it's about those booleans. But yeah, if you follow the tutorial, you'll know which booleans you should be messing with and which not. So that's sprinting, that's crouching, that is all nicely set up for us. ADSing I'm gonna be doing in the next episode because we'll be setting up our animation blueprints in that. What else can we set up now real quick? We have crouching done, sprinting done, jumping done, walking is done. I think that is all about it for this episode. If you take a look, we can now smoothly sprint, we can crouch, and we can just, yeah, walk around, walk left, right, we can jump. We're gonna make this look a lot better as the tutorial goes on. But for now, we are going to be keeping it at this. So if you guys enjoyed it and want to see more, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys want to be seeing outside of this series. I'm gonna be trying to post this at least 3 times a week, so this series will have like 3 videos a week, hopefully. Maybe a little bit sooner, but we'll have to see how the editing goes and stuff like that. Make sure that everything looks nice for you guys. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.